What's going on, YouTube? This your boy Real Talk. You now tuned in to Real Talk Media. Got something different I want to talk about today, boy. So I know y'all done saw the movie Paid in Full, and if you didn't, you need to go back and watch it. But it was based on true events. Even though some of the movie was fake, it was still based on true events. Fast forward, I know a lot of people was not believing that your boy Azie and your boy motherfucking Alpo was snitching. Them niggas was snitching. Y'all talk about, oh, that was just for the movie, or that's just made up, or ain't no proof. Alright, well, I want to introduce y'all to somebody named Kevin Chiles. Y'all need to check him out. If y'all ain't hip to the Don Diva magazine, either you ain't a real street nigga, or you ain't been locked up before, nigga, you probably can't read, I don't know. But anyway, check this out.
So give me the landscape. So where's Alpo and Rich in this equation in terms of... I saw that head shake. I saw where are they in a radius from you?
Well, stepping back from '86, they were doing well as well, and because when I actually met Alpo and Rich, for that matter, it was before then. You know,
before crack era.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. This is at the rooftop. Back then, about that time, there was some young guys that all had reputations. And God bless their soul, because most of them aren't alive. Well, actually, probably everyone I'm probably getting ready to mention alive. You know, there's a guy named Jason.
Okay.
You know, he's no longer alive. Travis, Dave, L.A., like I said, Rich, Poe, myself. A came every now and again, but, not as much as us. We frequented regularly, you know what I mean?
In New York, I'm going to tell you about this rooftop. You know, you had a couple different car drivers out there. You had some fly cars. You also had cars that were only stolen for that night only.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
You meet Azie, Poe, and Rich at is your first meeting with? Remember just seeing them there?
Well, what happens? Like I said, when I start getting a certain kind of money. And like what I told you earlier on when that was happening, and we started buying cars, these individuals, we all sort of travel the same routes. Back then, anybody who knew nothing about Harlem, like you had certain car washes you went to if you was that guy.
Did he give information about you?
Yes.
He did?
Yes, he did.
So, all right, hold on.
Do I need to move mine too?
Wait a minute. Oh, Alpo cooperated in your case?
Yeah, I'm gonna go one further.
Whoa.
So there's complete clarity.
Yes.
Okay. Me, Alpo, Rich, and more so me, Alpo, and Rich. A's, if I had to create a scenario, it's like a second cousin.
Got you.
So you can understand intimacy.
Okay.
I was, when I think about it, I have to question who was I closer to, Al or Rich. Me and Al got into more bullshit, swapping cars. We did that. Me, Rich, Al, switch cars. We would meet up at the car wash, talk about, the women who we used to have this thing where we started talking about our top five, and we would compare notes. Do you know her, this, that, and the third? Again, we young, we doing what guys who got a lot of money, a lot of influence do.
Do you have paperwork on Alpo cooperating in your case?
Yes.
What year did you get arrested?
94.
94. So, at 94 you get arrested. Give me the scenario. Like, where are you at the time when this happens?
Well, I actually got arrested on 118th Street, 5th Avenue. I mean, that's where they actually converged on me, and it was November 1st of 94. That's
okay.
actually the day I got arrested. Yeah.
So then this happens. What was your charge?
I was charged with what's called a CCE. It's called a continued criminal enterprise. It's like the highest charge you can be charged. It's the kingpin charge is what it's called.
Does it have is that number? Is it the 848? Okay, so now this is also, correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I believe Alpo's charged with, right? And I think Guito told me that's what was his charge.
Let's go beyond that. That's what El Chapo was charged with.
Okay.
So we can
really get an understanding of what it is. This is the highest charge possible. Right. Now, if you're convicted on that charge, what could it bring?
Natural life.
No matter what age you are.
No matter what age you are.
Okay, so you're convicted on this charge. How do you begin to see Alpo is involved in your case?
Well, it's a process called discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you get arrested, they start disseminating discovery, and usually when you first get
This is you or this is your lawyer? This is
me.
you.
This is me.
You looking
they
at
give you a complaint, and what the complaint is throughout however long they've been investigating you, they give you what's called a complaint, and when you read it, it describes.
How long were they investigating you?
2 years.
2 years.
So from
that's 92
to 94. Yeah. So when you're reading this complaint, there's names omitted, but there's situations that occurred. You know what I mean? So it'll be
so there's no names, but
yeah. So
you know who was there. You know who was at that situation.
And that's done for the sole purpose of you don't want to go to trial. So you see what we have on you, you might want to take a plea.
Got you.
And the federal government has a 96, 97, 98%, all depending on what state you're from, conviction rate. So when you're reading this information, you're reading about scenarios and of different things that happen. So you know who was there. Like when I'm reading it, I know who was there. I know who I did it with if I did it. So it's not too hard to figure out whatever. But like I said, in most instances,
a handful of people who know.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
So in most instances, you'll read this from your complaint, and you'll probably start trying to negotiate a plea.
Did you negotiate a plea?
They offered me 25 years, and that was the best plea that was ever offered to me, and I was like, I just couldn't accept 25 years. You know, it just I couldn't wrap my hand around the concept. Again, I'm 27 at the time, and a few days from then I was gonna be 28, and I'm like, I just can't see myself coming home. That you know, and you got to figure, you go from one extreme, from running the streets, just owning the world, to all of a sudden you're in this cage, and next thing you know, somebody telling you you're not coming home for 2.5 decades. It just wasn't something I could conceptualize. So I just couldn't take the plea, you know. And this is after I evaluated, you know.
So you went to, so now when you go to trial,
Right.
What happens now when you go to trial?
I have my first trial ended in a hung jury, a mistrial hung jury.
Now, when there's 100, that means they couldn't make a decision on whether or not.
All 12 people couldn't come to a conclusive decision.
Okay. And then, so then now you go to trial again.
I go to trial again.
And what happens there?
I have another hung jury. After the second trial, me and my lawyer discussing my options, and he tells me the government's position, obviously, you know, and it's ironic because
A lot of money's being spent here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody who knows anything about a federal case knows that, you know, just for a lawyer to come see you and to retain you, you have to give him 50 grand. So, you know, I spent a couple $100,000, you know. It didn't matter. Whatever kind of money I could have got, I wanted my liberty, you know what I mean? So it wouldn't have mattered. And this is where a lot of people go broke fighting the government because, you know, you want your liberty. And then not only that, you want to try to get something reasonable, you know what I mean, that you can live with and hopefully come home one day and, you know, get your life back. But anyway, my lawyers had a conversation with me, and he was telling me what the government's position was, and I told him what my position was, and I was like, you know what, I feel that we could beat them. You know, I really felt, you know, and again, I'm inexperienced. I don't know nothing about the federal government, you know, all but same thing we seen on TVs, the things I heard the old timers before me say, and I want to fight. And what my lawyer said to me was like, well, no, Kevin, if this thing goes wrong, you're gonna hate me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
now, if it went wrong, you're guaranteeing the 25.
No,
life no wrong.
Oh, natural. So when you were doing those 2 times, you're in that room thinking, if they come out right now, I'm spending my natural life in jail.
Every time they called, you know, like, because from when they deliberate, they take you back to the.
Remember that word civilian that you used earlier, and you know, I know what I just said to myself.
Right. And most, right.
Is I'm telling. like that, I keep it up. But when he said that, like, I felt the whole, like, there's no McDonald's in there.
Right.
There's no White Castle. Like, I felt like, oof. So, correct me if I'm wrong. You could have any point right there decided to cooperate.
Absolutely.
Like, and you wouldn't have been looking at that.
I probably would have been home, like the guy who told on me, who went home.
So you chose in that instance. I'm looking at natural life, to be behind bars, to say I'm gonna continue, not give anybody up, and take what comes to me.
Absolutely.
Where was AZ in all of this?
Looking back on it, I guess helping them.
Helping them. When you say them, you mean
The government.
he was helping the government.
Yeah, that's the way it appears in my paperwork.
Well, why would AZ's name be in your paperwork?
That's a good question. All right, that's a question I want to know the answer to as well. I mean, he wrote a book and he made some reference to.
Have you and him spoken about this?
Absolutely not.
No.
What can you tell me?
So, when you say his name is in your paperwork, like a specific situation or something that happened and you know he was there,
Okay, let me.
what's the difference between him and Alpo in terms of, because I noticed with AZ you said working for the government.
Right.
Was Alpo working for the government?
After he got caught.
After he got caught.
Right.
So where's AZ in this? Is AZ working for the government before?
It appears like that from my paperwork.
But you and AZ weren't moving together. How would he come up in your paperwork?
This is my theory. What I realized that when I'm reviewing my paperwork, it's showing it, and actually this actually saved me. So and God works in funny ways, because what happens is that Alpo, in wherever he's at now, at the time, I don't think it's the witness protection at the time because he hasn't maybe took a plea just yet, but wherever the government is keeping him, he's not on a compound. He's never been on a compound, by the way. There's a misconception about that too. He's never walked the compound.
So when you say AZ working for the government, was this just in your case or in other cases?
Well, again,
too?
I can only I don't want to speculate on what he did in regards to someone else, but this is the question I had. Okay, so when I'm reviewing my discovery, like I'm stating to you, and even before then, my discovery, at the beginning of my case, there's dates on the stuff. Like I said, it's your discovery. It's what you get to see, so you know.
Oh, when they get a certain type of information,
Right.
when it comes in, how it comes in.
Right. So then they would provide it to you. You review it, and you determine how you're going to create a defense for yourself. So they give you this information.
This is what we got.
This is what we got. You take that. You evaluate it. You and your lawyer discuss how we're going to proceed, or if we should proceed, or whatever. But in any event, in some of my discovery, I'm noticing his name at the
AZ's.
top. AZ's name at the top of the discovery, and
Not blacked out.
not blacked out because I'm going to trial. So when you go to trial, they have to remove what's blacked out now because you got to know who
If
it
you
is.
took a plea, you wouldn't have known who it was.
There you go. And because 97% of people take pleas,
You weren't expected to see that paperwork.
nobody was. That's what they bank on.
Got you.
So if 90% of the people in the
They
federal
didn't
system,
bank on the two mistrials. The two
or
mistrials.
before then, because even
So there are probably some people
that was
who are
totally
in
wrong.
jail
They don't know why.
that don't know
Exactly.
who those people were.
See how you starting to get it, man?
Pretty sharp, huh?
Yeah, it's a quick study.
Got it.
There you go.
Oh wow.
There you go.
Got
So
it.
that enables him to
So
say,
so once your third one doesn't happen, they know you've seen all of this.
well,
They know you've seen your paperwork.
they
now.
know, but if the trial go left and I get life, then okay.
Either way.
What matters if he's seen it or not? I mean, like think about it. Like I'm not supposed to be here right now. Like you're not supposed to be hearing this right now. Because how many people in the penitentiary that can tell these same stories if they were here? They're not here because they got life.
And even they tell it from there, it's a different twist.
Right.
It's a
And no one
different
wants to
feel.
hear it. Right. There you go.
Mm.
So for clarity,
Mm.
the guy Charles Allen Brown from Mount Vernon, that guy.
Mm-hmm. He's still in. Oh, he's out.
Oh,
He never went in,
he was in from March to the conclusion of my trial.
and then he was out,
When my trial was over, they gave him what's called a 5K1,
which is
a downward departure. It gives the judge discretion to sentence him because he copped out to 25 years.
oh he took so he did 20. He
Yeah,
did
but
25.
This is how that worked. See, what the government do is make you take a plea,
Mm-hmm.
and with that plea, they say you get 25 years. You accept that. If you help us and cooperate, we will write a letter to you to recommend to the court that your sentence be reduced for substantial assistance. That's what it's 5K1. So he signed that.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes back on that agreement, don't do what they want him to do, then he's subjected to getting that time.
Even now. Whenever.
It's indefinite.
Okay.
So in the event, that's what he did. After the conclusion of my trial, he went for sentencing, and they gave him time served, and he went home. Wow. Right. Now, let me bring this all the way back. So
there's 3 people in your paperwork.
That was way more than that, but this is the conspiracy. So this is how this actually helped me, believe it or not. When I'm reviewing my paperwork, I see Azie's name all in it. You know, can't make heads or tails of it because I'm like, So as this plays out, in court, my lawyers on talking to the agent, and he asking him questions. And in one particular question, he asks him, "Is Azie a part of this case?" The agent says yes. This is all in the paperwork that I'm allowed.
You want to know,
post. Right?
You want to know,
of course. So he asks him all these questions, so it comes out. So then when he gets Charles Allen Brown from Mount Vernon on the stand again. He asks him.
Whoa, wait a minute. They took the stand?
For days.
Wait, whoa. They took the stand in your case?
Yes, he took the stand in my case. Not Azie, Charles Allen Brown. But I'm trying to make
the stand. Testified against you, looked at you and testified against you.
Yeah, somebody I took care of, protected, saved his life multiple times. Got up there and pointed his finger at me, my child's mother, my aunts, my cousins. Wow. He would have told on my kids if they was old enough to stand trial. And, but let me get back to the story so I can connect the dots for you, okay? So I see Azie's name all in my paperwork. This guy, Charles Allen Brown from Mount Vernon, gets on the stand, and he starts testifying. And through the course of him testifying, my lawyer says to him, my understanding is that you received some paperwork, pertaining to Kevin Chiles' case. And he goes on and says yes. And he gets to asking him some more questions. He says, so to my understanding, you received this paperwork from an old buddy of yours by the name of Azie Faison. He's like, yes. And then he says, to my understanding, this paperwork that Azie Faison got came from Alberto Martinez, Alpo. He says, yes. So now I'm sitting in trial, and I'm saying to myself, first of all,
sounding nuts.
Why does Alpo have anything pertaining to my case in the first place? And then secondly,
what was it?
It's I don't know.
Like, that means he gave him something.
Right. Like, you got to follow me on this. Like, I'm going to go real slow. Investigators and prosecutors have this information. Like, who they seen, why they seen him, what you was doing, how you was doing it. Why does he have it? Where he's at? Like, you don't have access to this stuff, so he had to be sitting with the agents and helping them put a case together and providing them information and insight. Because like I said, we was friends. So they may have been showing him and asking him how this worked or whatever. But on top of that, he told them the things that him and I did. With one another as far as business was concerned. Okay, so that's fine. He in turn sends it to AZ. Now my question become, why does he need to know what's going on? I mean, this is happening in real time when I'm trying to process this. So is he a liaison for you? Because is he helping you with the spaces that you can't fill in? Do you send it to him and ask him, hey, you out on the street now?
Is this true? What this conversation is that's happening?
No.
What's being said here?
No.
They're looking for him for confirmation.
Well, I think Alpo was only able to tell on me up to 90 because he got locked up. I was still in the street from 90 to 94, and me and A was still in the street. So maybe there was new players and new things going on that he made me. And this is my theory. Regardless of what my theory is, the fact is that Alpo had the paperwork. He sent it to AZ. And AZ ended up giving the paperwork to Charles Allen Brown while he's on the run. See? Now, that ends up saving my life.
Why are you saying that?
Because Chuck allegedly was testifying to things that we did. My lawyer argued that you're testifying to things that you've seen in paperwork that was provided by government participants.
Informants.
There you go. Good word. You understand? So that's what provided ulterior motive and gave the jury something to question. Are you testifying in first person of accounts that actually happened between you and Kevin? Are you testifying from a script that you read from? And you really wasn't there and you really didn't do these things. You know what I mean? But that was enough.
Damn. If y'all think this was long, y'all should go watch the whole interview on Funk Flex on Hot 97. That bitch like 2 hours long. So that's who get the credit for most of this interview. Hey, I ain't even gonna comment too much on it. Y'all already know how I feel about snitching, snitches, and all that shit. So drop a comment down below. Let me know what y'all think about this. I'm on Twitter now at Real Talk Blogs. I'm on Instagram now at Real Talk Blogger. Make sure y'all subscribe, share, and I'm out.